Hello, welcome back to BG Pythons. I thought today I would talk about a new product that's just come to market. In fact, I think it's launching this weekend, and it's actually arrived early for me. So I'm going to have a bit of an unboxing and look at setting it all up. And it's basically a new thermostat. Very excited about this because I've used quite a few different types of thermostats, and both Haberstat and microclimate ones. Now I did a review on the Prime 2, which is quite, I mean, at the time it was cutting edge thermostat technology, and it has served me quite well. However, it has some disadvantages, not least, and so I've got it working currently, looking after two of my Vivs at the moment, but I no longer have the PC connection because I have a MacBook, and the software doesn't work on the MacBook. So when I need to make changes and things like I had with the recent power cut, it's all manual, and whilst it's relatively straightforward, it's still not the most easy and intuitive thing to use. Now I also use, and I've got about 8 of the EVOs, and these have also been really good, and the only sort of thing with them was that this is only really powering one Viv. It only has the one heat probe. They are really good. I have had a few gremlins on some of mine, in the sense that the time sometimes goes out of kilter. You're pressing one of the numbers or the letters, and another one comes up, or the touch screen's not exactly the best. But it was a great sort of move in the right direction in terms of thermostats. One of the things that I absolutely love now, and I did, I don't know where I've put them actually. There, it's in my pocket. So excuse me for that. In most of my cages, I use the little Govee smart thermohydrometers. These are super cool. I get these from Amazon, and I also use Inkbird as well, and I did a review up there, on Govee and Inkbird, and use them just to measure the temps and the humidity in your Vivs. And that ease of being able to check things on your mobile phone is sort of revolutionising things. Not only that, and amongst lots of other people, we use tools to manage their feeding records, breeding records and things using an app. I happen to use Reptile Buddy, which I highly recommend. It's really good. And there's others that would use things like Reptile Scan and things like that. But whatever your preference is, there's this big movement to use smart technology or apps to manage your reptile collection. So I was super excited when this bad boy came through the door. And this is the Microclimate EVO Connected, and this one's the number 3 version. So it's got 3 separate channels, so it's not unlike the Prime 2. What I'm going to do is I'm going to unbox this and see what's in the box. There are Microclimate have been doing the rounds with instructions how to set up and things. It really couldn't be more straightforward. I'd already downloaded the app because we were prompted to do that before. That was super easy, just like any other app to do. And what I'll see is just how easy it is to connect a device. and get that all set up. So watch this space, let's have a look at what's inside the box. So what comes in the box, let's have a look. Okay, so we have, obviously there's quite a few wires and things, but we have the new screen. This is just slightly larger than the EVO, but it has got a better touch screen. We'll see how that works when we fire it all up. You have 3 sensors, because I've gone for the connected 3. And one thing it's very obvious if you're an EVO user, normal EVO user, is the probe size is similar to the Prime 2 as opposed to the EVO, which is much thicker. I actually found that quite irritating because of the size of the hole that you had to put into the cage. These are much better. So for the connected 3, I've got 2 outputs which would do pulse and dimming, and a third output which would do on-off. Again, very similar to the Prime 2. The box, the control box where it houses the fuse, it doesn't come with any spare fuses, which the EVO does, but you get a service pack off from most sites, which has a pack of fuses. It's very rare that they go, but it's always useful to have a few spare. And the box slightly smaller than the current box that you have with the EVO, but it has these rather useful screw holes, so you could actually put it on a wall, and it's not too heavy, which is quite handy. The other thing of note, with the EVO and the EVO Lite, you would get a bracket to attach to the back, which would enable you to put a few screws in on the wall or on the side of the Viv, and then you'd hang your you'd hang the control box up. Sorry, losing my words. As you can see from these pictures here of how I'm hanging my EVOs up at the moment. The EVO Connected comes with some holes already there to enable you just to put some screws in the wall and then hang this, which is really great. It means you don't have to go through the extra effort of buying something separately. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set this all up. I'm going to set up replacing my Prime 2. As I said before, or possibly said before, depending on how I edited this, my Prime 2, it's very fiddly because, especially if you haven't got a laptop, a PC laptop, so you can control, you can make do all the settings and everything, because every so often it is quite nice to be able to rename the channels and things, which you can't do manually. I'm basically going to switch that one out, put this one in place. It's going to, I've got my big Marjorie, my big black-headed python in the larger Viv, and I've got the green tree python. I'm going to be heating both and controlling the lights off this one controller. I do like the whole smart technology because even my LED, White Python LED lights, I'm utilising the smart plugs, so I can control. It's easy to do set schedules and control them, and literally don't have to do anything. And I'll be going on holiday soon, so the person I've got coming in, keeping an eye on everything, just doesn't have to worry about all of those things. So let me go away, I'll set this up and let's see what it all looks like. Cool. Okay, so I've now set that all up. It was pretty easy, to be fair. The more complicated piece really was taking the old Prime 2 out and making sure all the wires, and which were a little bit tangled up and everything, were put in place. So I've managed to do that. Everything, the connection to the app and the ability to change all of the things is just really super easy. The actual control unit itself is far more responsive than the EVO, with a nice reassuring beep and everything. The settings within it are pretty much exactly the same. There is this sort of new seasonal settings piece, which I probably won't use, but I'm sure some people would find that very useful. But everything on your phone is just really nice and clean and easy and intuitive to use. I really like it. I think this, along with using the smart plugs like this type of thing, which again I can control using my phone. The GoVs, again using the phone, it's all a lot easier just to keep an eye on things and making sure husbandry is on point. So I'm just going to let that all run, see how it all goes. So far I'm really impressed. So I suspect I'm going to probably have a number of thermostats available for different people if they want them. I can certainly see a lot of Prime 2s coming on the marketplace, because this is just another level, because you don't necessarily need to have a smartphone. You can just use it as a normal EVO. It is expensive, but I think it's probably worth the money. This is this Connected 3 is about £170 or so. That said, it's powering, heating 2 Vivs and controlling the lights on 2 Vivs. One of the great things was that I realised I had a spare extension, four-way extension for the LED white Python LED lights, so I could do away with the separate LED. Sorry, the separate plug for the LEDs. It's all coming off one control source now, which is just tidies up the wiring a bit and makes things a little bit easier to manage. Yeah, I'm going to carry on and have a play around. I think this is superb. Can't knock it. So hopefully this has all come together and it's a bit quick and knocked together, but I'm going to monitor the temps just to make sure they're okay. One thing I couldn't find where I changed the units on the app, but on the control panel, this little piece here, can't quite see it, it's exactly the same as the Microclimate EVO, and therefore it's just a very easy change under settings. So yeah, let's and obviously the more of these EVO connectors you have, they all get added to the same as separate devices on the same app, so you don't have to have multiple things. So I think it's brilliant. Well done, Microclimate. There's always peace of mind with Microclimate because they have this 5-year warranty and things, and I can see myself certainly buying a few more of these. So yeah, well done, excellent, cheers. by way of some sort of bonus footage for those that have made it this far, I thought I'd share with you my top 5 items that I've bought for keeping my snakes, which I would highly recommend anybody has. So number 1 is obviously snake hook. I've got various different sizes with different size animals, but these are always just really useful, just to give you a bit of peace of mind. You can look at quite a few channels are out there where people you tend to just touch the snake very gently with the snake hook, just to remind it that it's not feeding time. But if I was starting from scratch, this would be on my number one in my top 5 of items that I would buy. Second is the infrared temp guns with the old little laser type lights on there. Ooh, didn't like that. They're absolutely essential because you can't often rely on the temperature that you're measuring using a thermometer, because that's from one place, and it just gives you a very quick idea of your gradients and what your hot spot is, because often you need to set your thermostat to a temperature which is slightly different to what you're actually wanting to heat, because if it's hitting a surface, for example, that surface can get pretty hot. So use the gun, dial in your settings on your thermostat, and this is an essential piece of kit. Beeping again. I've done a review on these before, but the smart thermostats and hydrometers, I think these are brilliant. Again, going into your smartphone, you can keep an eye on temperatures and so forth. Now, I use 2 types. I use the sort of tablet sort of version like this, and also, if I can find one, here we go. Oh, right, breaking stuff. Drop there. I also use Govies, still connects to your smartphone, but it also gives you the temperature, minimum, maximum, and the minimum, maximum on your humidity. So this is a really good compromise. Again, these are all available on Amazon. Highly recommend these. They're better than any of the reptile ones that you will get from shops and things by a country mile. So massive recommendation on those. Every snake keeper should buy some aluminium tape. It's really quite good, particularly if you're using racks and things where you can tape down the heat mats. I use it quite a lot, and it's really useful just to have on hand. It's worth noting, you've got to be very careful using tape in a vivarium or in a rack where the snake can get at it. It's not good for them to get tape all around them, and so always be wary of that. But again, really cool stuff. I get this from the sort of B&Q screw fixers of this world, and pretty very useful piece of kit. And then I'll put that down because it keeps beeping. Finally, and obviously this isn't ideal for every species of snake, but is these deli cup holders. So for most of my snakes I use deli cups which I fill with water, and then they just pop into the deli cup holder, and it just keeps them secure and everything. And what I really like about these is they're very easy to clean, very, very cheap. I think behind me there I've got probably 100. Because I live in an area, even though I'm using filtered water and things, I get quite a build-up of limescale. So when I was using ceramic bowls and things, they would get harder and harder to sort of clean. Whereas these, it's a bit more obvious. They're a bit more disposable, so once they've kind of had it, I just chuck them, well, recycle them. But I really like these, and I'd be honest with you, I wish I'd had them a long time ago. So they're my sort of top 5 things that I really like. I mean, there's tons of things also that you should always have on hand. Things like the F10 disinfectant, so you can make sure you're, oh, got a snake coming out. You can make sure your snakes cages and things are kept nice and clean. So I will make sure she's put back in and give her water back as she's making an escape. But anyway, hope you found it useful for those of you that have made it this far anyway. But I'll put some links down in the description of where you can get some of these items. Anyway, cheers, take care.